Welcome back to another live episode of Dynasty Theory. I'm John Bauer. Find me on X at the Bauer Club. You see, I'm joined by Dan Lamagna at Coach Dan Dynasty. Happy Veterans Day for all who have served. Appreciate it. Thank you. Now, time for Dan's 2-minute drill. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Week 10 is in the books. It's now a 4-week season before the fantasy playoffs. Here are some coaching pointers from this past week. Alec Pierce, Indy wide receiver number 2, real chemistry between him and Indiana Jones. Jalen Naylor, one of the better wide receiver 3s out there with J.J. McCarthy, making him a deep stash on our rosters. Travis Hunter went from not out too long to done for the season. Still don't sell him too cheap and have regrets next season. Garrett Wilson, Rashad Bateman, Darius Slayton also shelved for a few weeks. Buy Jackson Dart if there is a concussion window out there, and sell Russell Wilson, hear me, JB, for a 4th rounder and a bag of donuts now if that window for some reason opens up. Brock Purdy should be starting, but I would stash Mac Jones in case of an injury setback or for next season as a free agent. JT Taylor, Achane, and TreyVeyon Henderson soared in Week 10. We'll talk about that later. Although Seattle running backs are productive, Kenneth Walker, Sharbs, and George, he sniped me on DraftKings Helani, is more frustrating than the Chiefs' backfield, and I didn't know that was possible. Look for Trey Benson, Marion Hampton, and Bretton Strange to all return the next 1 to 3 weeks for some late-season potential help. Tajay Spears, cheap help if you are RB desperate, 3 to 4 catches per game and almost as many carries as Pollard. J.K. Dobbins' foot injury, possible IR, buy R.J. Harvey now. Kincaid Hammy, small window for Dawson Knox. Tyler Conklin if Gadsden misses some time. And last but not least, Week 11 schedule, Commanders at Dolphins, 9:30 a.m. in Spain. Set those lineups. Colts Saints on a bye. And peeking ahead to Week 12 with Broncos, Chargers, Dolphins, and Commanders on a bye. Hey, guys, John Cena, Grand Slam champ. I forgot to set my timer, so I threw that in there, JB, but I guess that's 2 minutes.
No, yeah, I didn't even have to hit the gong. It's still going. There we go. Yeah, the John Cena Intercontinental Champion. Holy moly. I love the live update from you last night, but we're not here to talk about wrestling. We are here now to talk about the return of Joe Burrow. Really? So Joe Burrow, they're opening up. They have 21 days now to open up that window. So by December 1st, Dan, the Bengals are 3-6 at this point in time. Does it make sense if they win over the next 2 weeks for that window to actually be open? So let's put our dynasty hats away for just a second. Do you actually see Joe Burrow making a return, not just this season, but in just a few weeks?
It is funny we're having this conversation and talking in a few weeks because I feel like we just forget about these players that we assume are out for the season. But JB, I'm going to say 100% yes, whether they are in contention or not, as long as he is 100%. And I don't think he's going to rush himself back. I don't think the Bengals are going to rush himself back. I think if they're opening up this 21-day practice window, by the end of 21 days, if he's feeling good, he's going to either come out there and, if not a contender, to try to be spoiler, versus the Bills. So I think there's definitely hope. If there's a setback along the way or if anything's iffy, not a chance.
Yeah, it's always interesting. It's always interesting, right? Because we look at these situations and oftentimes you see players get shut down and it's like, okay, kind of a business decision, kind of a jockeying for draft position next year, whatever the case may be. If they are 3-8 after these next 2 games, I think they really need to look at, okay, is he indeed 100%? Because there truly is no reason to rush him back otherwise. So he's quarterback 8 on Dynasty Daddy rankings. He's 21st overall when you incorporate all the positions. You're saying you think he returns. I'm a little more skeptical, but like these guys, they want to play. They want to battle. They want to get out there. And I don't think that's any different with Joe Burrow. He's a competitor. So I'm sure it's difficult for him to sit there, especially if he feels like he's ready at that point in time. But ultimately, we'll see how things shake out there. Joe Flacco, he has been the quarterback one overall in +4, -1 scoring since week 5 at 25.4 points per game, which is absolutely ridiculous. With the thought that, well, with your thought, Dan, that Joe Burrow is going to be coming back, how does that impact the value of Joe Flacco from one, somebody that has him and has been relying on him? What way should they approach a potential contingency plan? And two, if you are in need of a quarterback, do you now become a little hesitant to go out and try to acquire Joe Flacco?
Yes, definitely throws a wrench in our plans if we hope to have Flacco through the fantasy playoffs. The good news is we at least have him to get us through the bye weeks, and he has been awesome. I really hope he resigns somewhere this offseason with a real explosive offense, because I don't really see him retiring yet. But I do have to get a plan B now if I know there is the potential for Burrow to come back, and I'm really thin at quarterback, and I was riding the Flacco wave to the finish line. Now I've got to be aggressive in these next few weeks to get something else in place just in case. You look at the Bengals schedule. I mean, at Pittsburgh, JB, your Steelers, that's not easy. New England's definitely not easy. And then at the Ravens, I mean, I could easily see them going 0-3, but yet putting up good fantasy points with Flacco. And then we see where it goes from there if Joe Burrow is to come back or not.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. In terms of like a value perspective right now, what do you put on Joe Flacco?
It's going to depend what I need, right? Like if I'm, I gave him my 2-minute drill, if I had Daniel Jones this week and I need those Flacco points, he's still valuable. If I look ahead to next week and I'm losing Herbert or Nix to, I'm missing a quarterback there, he's still valuable to me. So I could see myself giving still potentially a third, knowing I could have him this season. Again, if I need that to contend, because I know he's paired with Chase and Higgins and he's putting up legitimate points. It's not that backup flyer that you take for the week and hey, you're hoping for 15, 20 points, but there's a floor potential as low as like -2. Like Flacco's gonna score. So I'm still willing to give up a pick for him if I need him. But if I don't need it anymore, JB, I'd rather save my draft capital for next year and play it safe.
Yeah, as you can see, I did not have the 2-person overlay ready, so moving us around a little bit there. But sorry, just pulling.
See, it's Mitch's fault, man. He's over. He's at the love
it
shack
really
right now.
Is.
He's thrown our format off.
It really is. All right, here we go. So looking at Joe Flacco very quickly, pulling up Dynasty Daddy, we have Joe Flacco for Keaton Mitchell in a 4th. I still think that's a fair price to pay, more than fair price to pay for Joe Flacco, because like you said, Dan, even if Joe Burrow were to come back and you feel fairly confident in that, you're going to get 2-3 more weeks out of Joe Flacco, and that's more than enough at that price point.
Agreed.
2/3.
Ooh. A third of the 2 following years, that would fall under my scenario of, hey, if I need Flacco, really need him, and there's valuable, I could live with giving that away. But if I don't need him, I'd rather keep the thirds.
This next one was interesting. Aaron Rodgers, Mason Taylor, and a 4th for Joe Flacco. That's a little too much.
Flacco's packing.
So it does look like, for the most part, once this Joe Burrow, news came out, it looks like it's right around a third, maybe 2/3. And if that's what I'm looking at, like, let's say you have a Jaden Daniels and you're waiting and hoping that he's going to return, that's more than a fair price for Joe Flacco. What about if you have to get into the second? Do you move a 26?
I've been shying away from a second, even with a good Flacco. That's where I'm trying to go get the Jacoby Brissett's and Marcus Mariota's and preserve my second any way possible.
All right, transitioning over to Joe Burrow now. Joe Burrow or Nico Collins a third and a fourth, 12-team start 10 full PPR.
Hey, man, this show used to be called Superflexology for a reason, JB. Yeah, I think you got to take Joey Burrow. And again, I don't want to get too caught up in the reports that Burrow's definitely going to come back. Again, is this just a storyline? The practice window's open now. There's
Right,
gonna be
of
no
course.
chance on earth. But here nor there, I would take Joe Burrow in this deal.
Yeah, you have to take it, like you said, like a little bit with a grain of salt here, because I am a little bit more hesitant and cautious in terms of what I think is going to happen here as the season goes on. A lot of pieces there. Jordan Love in a 27 first or Joe Burrow in a 26 third. 12 team start 11 full PPR.
Man, the way that Green Bay offense has looked, I'd be trying to get out of that, and this could be my window. Hey, we talk about buy now windows. This is the buy now window for Joe Burrow, so I take that Burrow side. That's a good deal, though. I mean, you're getting a good quarterback in Love in a first rounder in 27, which we know we like, right? But fair deal there.
Yeah, the first
start 11 too. That's a factor.
I do think that Jordan Love is still overvalued out on the trade market. Ladd McConkey, Isaiah Likely in a 26 first, or Joe Burrow in a 26 second. We always talk about it, how big of a gap is there between that first and second. This is a 12-team start 10 full PPR.
Start 10 makes it a little bit easier. It's a good deal, but I like Joe Burrow again. Again, you're going to give us an elite quarterback, potentially top 5. Burrow's the way to go.
Yeah, here's an interesting one. 2 injured players we've talked about several times throughout the course of the season. Joe Burrow or Malik Neighbors, 12-team start 10 full PPR.
Right. Again, the answer, not to be repetitive, is Joe Burrow, but I think that it's how we build our rosters. Hey, if your roster has the luxury of moving a Burrow and you could get yourself an elite receiver, maybe that's where those two owners struck a deal.
This one could get people thinking. Joe Burrow, a 26 first and a 27 first, or Breece Hall and Jalen Hurts, 12-team start 11, full PPR.
To your point, it got me thinking, but I'm going to go with Burrow and 2 firsts there. It's just that third leg of that trade falls off with that 26 third. Hall's worth the first. Hurts is very good.
Yeah,
despite
if anything,
Eagles offense being painful, right, JB?
Yeah, if anything, I think this shows us that there is still that market, and for the most part, I see from Nick, I would take Neighbors in the Joe Burrow trade. I wouldn't fault anybody there. I think that's perfectly fine. But these other deals, I think it shows there's still a market and an opportunity to acquire Joe Burrow, but it's just taking that stand, figuring out where you sit in terms of, is he going to return? Is he not? Because that is going to impact not only his value, but the way that we approach Joe Flacco, because Flacco has certainly been a productive quarterback, like we've talked about.
Just think if this offseason, Chase and Higgins is back, Burrow gets healthy, and just maybe the Bengals in the offseason actually invest in the O-line. Like, just picture that. Could be scary. So,
yeah, it would be a very nice situation. Let's see. Going through some of the comments here. From Cole Canuck, would you trade Burrow for Dart Plus if you're a contender in a 12-team Superflex? And if so, what would the plus need to be?
To me, it would have to be a first, JB, because if this trade doesn't work out come next year, although Dart looks promising the way he's running and scoring fantasy points, we know that could go away. We don't know where that's going to be next year, and Burrow's pretty much locked in as a top 5-6 quarterback. So I need something pretty good. Plus, Dart's in concussion protocol, so you're a contender, and you could be missing him for a week here too. So I lean, rather have Burrow, but again, if I could get some nice plus, I'm a contender. So a contender probably doesn't want it first, right? A contender probably wants Dart, and hey, what running back or receiver is not going to age too quick and is going to hold value next season that could help me win now?
What about Dart and Pickens?
Hey, if you start 3 wide receivers, my third wide receiver is weak. Maybe it's one of my rosters where Matthew Golden's just not cutting it this year. I needed to win in a contender, and I believe in Dart. I could do that, JB.
I saw something. Dart has been in concussion protocol 4 times this year. Is that right?
There was some stat of the amount of hits.
It sounds like it could be right.
Yeah, that's definitely
But
concerning. Hey, we know
times?
Dayball was arguing to get him out of the tent at least one time. So, oof.
Yeah. And now he's packing. He packed his bags. He's gone. Hit the like button if you're watching live. If you're watching back on the YouTube channel, hit the like button for us. And then check out patreon.com/allgas. Check it out for a month. If you don't like it, bounce, but I think you're going to stick around. A lot of good content, a lot of great resources. Getting the Dynasty. I was going to say Dynasty Theory. Holy moly. Getting the DD Fantasy Football Discord community. You got my cross-positional tiers. A lot of good stuff here. Diaz, you got to adjust your ranks, Dan. Dart is quarterback 6 now.
He is right now, man. He's all the hype, Big Diaz. I definitely see it. I see the path. And like JB said, if you throw a guy like Pickens in there, you might just get me. And JB, there's one I'm going to throw up here too. I saw in the chat, Harvey or a 28 first from Eric M over there. I told you I'm drinking the Harvey Kool-Aid. I remember Bo Nix's statement a few weeks ago saying, hey, this guy's going to be a star in a matter of time. Now Dobbins goes to the IR. 28 first is an eternity to me. So I don't like trading picks that far away, but I like Harvey.
He is going to get the opportunity now, but not that we were going to spend time on Harvey, but if Dobbins does go to the IR, we're going to have that inflated value for Harvey. So if you believe that it is still going to be a timeshare, which I don't think Harvey's really going to take over the workhorse role there, but if you think there's still going to be a timeshare that's going to hinder Harvey's progress and his production, this would be the time to cash out if you've been looking to do so.
Sean Payton will probably tick us off with our luck for us, the
sure
Harvey owners, right?
I'm sure he will. He just loves to piss everybody off. You know who isn't pissing us off, Dan?
This next guy.
Jonathan Taylor. Taylor made running back 1. Really, we want to spend a few minutes just talking about how much is too much if you're looking to acquire Jonathan Taylor. And does that too much, does that ceiling exist in terms of what we're willing to move? Because he is a running back. He's going to be 27 here in January. He is under contract until 2026 through 2026. And he is just in such a fantastic situation. A few things here, Dan, before I turn it over to you to talk about the running back 1 this year. He's averaging 27.4 points per game in PPR formats. 60% of his games, he scored at least 30 points. When you look at that 27.4 points per game, that is the most since CMC back in 2019. CMC did it in 2020 as well, but I removed him because he only played 3 games that year. 14 carries inside the 5, most in the NFL. He only has 58% of his team's carries inside the 5. So Daniel Jones still getting involved. And that's actually the lowest percentage of anyone with at least 10 carries inside the 5. So out of the 6 or 7 players that are there, Jonathan Taylor, his percentage, there is room for that to grow. He has 28 carries inside the 10, most in the NFL, 17 total touchdowns. He already has the most receptions he's had since 2021. And Dan, it's week 10. We just wrapped up the first 10 weeks. So you think about a quarterback like Daniel Jones with his mobility, his ability to run, and you think, well, is he really going to utilize the running back in the passing game? Well, Jonathan Taylor, 32 targets, 30 receptions, 260 yards. He is utilized in the passing game. And from whenever Jonathan Taylor, there was a season, I think it was his rookie year, he was the running back 1 from a overall points perspective. His point per game total was a little bit lower because of that involvement in the passing game. Well, now he's getting it, and he's getting that tremendous touchdown upside. So Jonathan Taylor, how much are you truly willing to invest? Because we get a ton of questions in the Discord about, hey, is this too much?
Man, is there such thing as too much for something this good, JB? His statistics are just sick right now. He's not just the number one running back. He's the number one overall scorer in fantasy football. He's surpassed Christian McCaffrey, who we know when healthy is like a fantasy god. You look at those category of players that you listed where CMC has done it multiple times. We know JT had one previous magical year when the O-line was clicking. And I feel like in preseason rankings over recent years, we always have our top couple guys. And then we have this like next tier of guys that like could be that guy if things just click right. And Jonathan Taylor was always in that list, right? Whether it was Saquon, Breece Hall, like really talented backs that have flashed that we know have potential to just jump. And that's Jonathan Taylor. And I think he's going to, one, play for a second contract. He mentioned him having a 2-year deal. At age 27, he's got to be determined to get one more contract. And that's good for fantasy football value. I think as long as the Colts are good and sustaining, and they should be, all signs point to this Colts being a well-run team that's got some good young talent that should be good, hopefully for a few years. Some concerns of Indiana Jones maybe regressing a little bit. But this OC and this team, man, I think I could easily give up all my picks on a player and just to get that number one score for the rest of the year if I'm a contender, and know next year he should still be very fine, and probably the year after also. Will he do this again next year? Probably not. He's definitely going to be due for some regression, but I think he's clearly a top back for the next 3 years.
3 years. Okay. We always know that Dan likes to, I'm surprised you didn't say 10 years.
Well, I mean, JB, every once in a while I get a little too animated and hyped up and excited about guys. But I mean, look, Kyron Williams has been good for a few years. Josh Jacobs has been good for a few years. Like, he's just in that kind of, he's the best in the game right now. He takes great care of his body. As long as the Colts could keep that O-line good and that offense good, which they have a lot of weapons around him, I think he's in good shape.
Geist, you stole the win from my sale there, saying he hopes he's not Saquon next year.
Don't worry about that.
There always is that concern, and it's going to be a huge talking point depending on how the rest of this season plays out. I mean, you're going to run that offense through Jonathan Taylor. You'd be silly not to. As much as I have talked up Daniel Jones, as much as I have invested in him for my dynasty leagues, it would be foolish for them not to continue to run that offense through Jonathan Taylor. So he's going to get a ton of volume, right? And that's going to be the talking point this offseason.
You can almost see a startup draft next year with, Bijan and Gibbs still being the top running backs off the board because they're so dang young and so darn good, and their team should hopefully project good. We're playing super flex, so everybody's going to get their Josh Allen, Lamars, and whatnot at quarterback.
Throw the 2 tight ends in if you're in even a small tight end premium.
Yep. Hey, if you get a 2-0 tight end premium, Bowers mixes in there. Start 3 wide receivers. Everyone's going to want their chase. And I just see Jonathan Taylor sliding just a little bit, despite being the best scorer in football this year, after that little group of guys. And that could be a good enough value to, like I said, cash in.
Well, yeah, I mean,
have here.
And think about all the wide receivers too that are going to be floating up there. But anyway, Jonathan Taylor trades. I want to see where we go and we say, yeah, that's too much. And before we get into the trades, I was thinking about this too. It's going to take a unique situation because most people that have Jonathan Taylor on their team, they're probably in a nice position. They're probably seeing themselves as a contender. So why would they move Jonathan Taylor for, picks? Why would they move him for prospects? Why would they try to split him up unless they need maybe they're just completely battered and bruised everywhere else. But I could see like a 1-for-1 swap for a quarterback because they're really lacking at the quarterback position, and that team has running back help. I could see a situation where as the trade deadlines, if you're in safe leagues, that's next Thursday. What's that date? 20th. So kickoff on Thursday, the 20th, those trade deadlines kick in. And I know a lot of people, they hate trade deadlines. That's another conversation. But you look at it and you're going to have to find a unique situation to get a trade involving Jonathan Taylor. But anyway, Dan, Jonathan Taylor or Ollie Gordon, Rico Dowdle, and Marvin Harrison, 12-team start 11, full PPR.
That package is moving, and I like those players. I really like Marv, but I love Jonathan Taylor, man. I could live without those guys, even in a start 11.
Yep, give me Jonathan Taylor. This next one is a bit much, I think, but I want your thoughts. 12-team, start 12, full PPR, Justin Jefferson and Josh Jacobs or Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, start 12, man. That's deep, and I like the deep. And I know Justin Jefferson hasn't been all that shiny this year, like the diamonds he wears every game around his neck, but he's still Justin Jefferson and an elite number one receiver. And Josh Jacobs, I'm going to take the package because Josh Jacobs is, the fifth RB in scoring, and he's only 27. They're around the same age. So give me Jacobs and J-Jet. Fun deal there, though. That's a good one. That's the way you do get Jonathan Taylor off a roster, JB. Like, if you really want him, that's how you do it.
That's like you're going to have to pry him from my dead, cold fingers type move. So I threw Christian McCaffrey in here real quick. So 594 trades over whatever date range is there, okay? So 594 trades. I wanted to see how that compared to Jonathan Taylor because I said he's probably going to be a difficult one to acquire. 385 trades, same, whatever filters I have applied here. So the
that's
proof,
a good example.
as you would say, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, because you got guys that are number 1 and 2 in scoring. You wouldn't think it'd be that difference, but that's what 2 years in age and an injury history do to CMC. A little more obtainable. Here,
Nick says the Jefferson one, that's a start 6 redraft trade right there. From CCW, did we say dart for Jonathan Taylor yet?
We did not. That's a tricky one there. But again, I think if you got JT and you're competing, how do you lose that? I like dart. He's risen in the ranks. But I got JT.
Now, strictly from a production standpoint perspective, there are options out there that are very cost effective that I don't want to say you're going to replace Dart 1-for-1, but that gap between JT and some of these other guys at the running back position versus Dart and some of the quarterbacks, that's where I'd be a little hesitant. Straight up, I would take JT. Straight up, I would take JT, but that is not a slight on Jackson Dart whatsoever.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And it's, I'm probably not as high where everyone is at with Dart, and I probably should be. But it's also because I have other good quarterbacks. And to your point, JB, when you have Taylor, the drop-off is tremendous, where I'm still okay at quarterback, even if I don't have Jackson Dart.
Bucky Irving and Garrett Wilson or Jonathan Taylor and Chris Olave smash. I'm not even letting you answer that.
Deal.
I mean, do you have to?
JT. Nah, it's a no-brainer there. JT. Olave's even playing good, so even with bum quarterbacks.
Yeah. I mean, we're at the point now. Bucky's not playing. Garrett Wilson's not playing. Chris Olave playing well. Jonathan Taylor, enough said. Maybe this is oh, shoot, I got to shed points. I'm right there for the 101.
That's an odd one.
I think you could probably get Bucky and Garrett Wilson for Jonathan Taylor without Olave in a lot of situations.
Good
Truly,
advice.
I do. I think you're leaving a lot of value on the table there. All right, Pickens in a 26 first or Jacoby Myers and Jonathan Taylor?
I want Jonathan Taylor again, even though I don't like Jacoby at all. Like, it just doesn't do anything for me.
Well, you better get ready because he's about to do
11.
something.
What's that?
I love Jacoby. I still love Jacoby.
You love Jacoby still?
Love him. Love him.
Yeah. That first would have to be like, I don't even know if it would matter if it was 101. Maybe it would.
Yeah, 101. It would swing me.
It would have to be that, though, right? Like anything after that, like
I mean,
not getting Jeremiah Love.
If it's not Jeremiah Love, right? Which isn't that it's crazy to think about. Like, it's going to be very interesting as the trade deadlines are right there, as people are in their semifinals or finals and there's no trade deadline where hey, this is where that pick is going to be. You're going to be able to say, hey, 101 for this player, 102 for this player. And obviously it's different because if you're in the championship and you're trading with a team that's not contending, they have the earlier picks and not vice versa. So, maybe a bad example there. But as the offseason progresses, to see how these picks are traded for veterans, especially the veteran quarterback market, I think it just becomes that much more valuable because the way this class is shaking out so far. Nick says Pickens and Jacoby are close to a wash, honestly. I'm not going to go that far, but I got my man Dan here knocking Jacoby, and I can't have that.
Yeah, but I'm throwing the challenge flag at you there, Nick, man. Once this Dallas offense heats up, their defense has made some moves. I think there's a couple more possessions in that Dallas offense per game. They're not in the same class.
Hold on. Where is it? That's the siren. They are coming to arrest chasing breakers here. If you're listening on the podcast feed, he says, I traded ETN and Pollard to a running back needy team for Jonathan Taylor after week 2. LOL. Lock him up. Lock him up.
Chasing breakers are celebrating all the way to Christmas with his prize money.
All right, let's see. Now, this is this one right here. This is one that came up earlier in the chat. Similar structure. 12 teams start 10 full PPR. 26 first, 27 first, or Jonathan Taylor.
It depends, right?
It kind of comes into the way, sorry to interrupt. It kind of comes into the way that people attack the running back position. Oh, I don't want to move 2 first for running back. I certainly don't want to move 3 first for a running back. But in such a unique situation where you're getting such dominant production, I would do it.
Yeah. And then where I go, it depends, JB, is that person reaching out to me. If I have Taylor and I'm willing to listen to 2 first, that means my season's not quite going like I think it should be, despite having Jonathan Taylor. Because if I'm a contender, I'm not moving them. All right. But let's say my season's not quite going so great. And then I look at those 2 first, and it's a team that projects like those 2 first could be decent, 2 first, then I'm with you, JB. I would move it. But those 2 things have to happen. I can't be contending for a title, and it can't be late firsts.
Yeah. And in a lot of situations, those are probably at least the 26 first will be seen as late, but hopefully you're getting picks that are not that managers. So they're making a push. You're getting picks that might have a little bit more variance, as I always talk about, and that can be a win-win. Remember, you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button for us. Helps us out, helps the channel out. We appreciate it. One more trade here. Tet McMillan and Breece Hall, or Jonathan Taylor and Jamison Williams. 12 teams, start 11, full PPR.
I see the why someone would do that. But I'm still going to go Jonathan Taylor and J-Mo. J-Mo's struggling, and Tet looks like a future potential bright number 1. He's not there yet, and the Jets just don't look good for a couple years. So I'm going to go JT and J-Mo.
J-Mo was struggling until the other coach, Dan, took over play calling duties. Do you see him with those glasses? He was looking sharp. He was had the play sheet out there, Dan Campbell, but it sounds like he's going to continue calling plays.
Us Coach Dan's could turn it up when we need to, JB.
I get it. Couple Jamar Chase questions real quick from Elite Swag. Should I tier up from Ladd, Brian Thomas, and a 26 first to get Jamar Chase? Settings would kind of dictate this a little bit for me.
Yeah, it's like start 3 receivers or start 11. That feels like a lot. I do love Chase, and I know BTJ is not fun. Where do we project that first? I think that's an important piece too. If it's a late first, JB, like if you're a contender and that first is going to be late, that probably is not. That's not a bad tier up, but it comes with risk.
Yeah, if it's a star 10, if I have the pieces on my roster to be able to make that work, and that's a later 26 first, which I'm assuming it would be in the situation, I don't hate Jamar Chase there. Chasing breakers back at us. Chase and Javonte for JT and Lad McConkey. This is a good one. I'm
going to go Chase and Javonte.
Whoa.
Because I would take Chase before Taylor in the startup next year. That's how I want to build my roster.
I agree.
And I think Javonte could get me enough points to not bury me at running back. I think he's going to be the Cowboys starter next year. It's a good one, though. I can't go wrong either side.
I think I do switch, actually. I do think I switch. But that's a fun one.
Yeah. Because it's kind of like 2 firsts for a first and wherever Javonte is projected to go next year, which is going to be a few rounds later. So, yeah, man, I might have to think about that, too, depending on format and rules.
That's a fun one, though. That is a fun one.
Throwing the change up there, chasing breakers.
All right. Devon Achane. People are still down him. He's too small. The offense is too bad in Miami. They're a dumpster fire. Devon Achane. He's running back 3 at 21.4 points per game. He only has 1 game under 16 PPR points this year. We talked about all that work inside the 5 that Jonathan Taylor gets. Devon Achane is doing all that with only 1 carry inside the 5. But he's first in targets per route run, first in first read percentage as a running back, 6.6 targets per game, only behind Christian McCaffrey, and he's at a 21% target share. Can Devon Achane continue finding this success, Dan, despite kind of things stacking up against him? I mean, as long as 2 is healthy, we should be able to project him for very solid production.
Yeah, man. Achane has really impressed me, JB. His team overall stinks this season. He isn't the biggest back, but he could ball out. And while Miami isn't quitting on their head coach, all right, defeating the Bills last week, which is impressive, Achane's in that next tier after the top 3 for me. But like in scoring this year, he's in his own tier right after Jonathan Taylor and McCaffrey, who we featured already. So with all things stacked against him, to be number 3, man, he's proven any doubt I had. It's just gone. Like, because if this offense gets better at any point in time over the next year or so, it should only get better, or at least maintain.
Achane, he's and this was a conversation that came up during the off season, and it was within the DD Fantasy Football Discord. It was a conversation centered around what you would need added to Devon Achane if moving Ashton Genty. And again, keep in mind, this was during the off season, and a lot of people saw a very large gap. And I was on the side, and I know anybody that listened to us during the off season, I talked up Devon Achane several times. So those shares are paying dividends at this point. But it's funny because if you explore trade opportunities, and depending on who has the player in your league, if you've tried for CMC, Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devon Achane from a production, age, and value perspective, I think he's the best buy. I really do. And I know a lot of people, they don't want to pay up for running backs, and that's fine. If that's your general philosophy, no issue. But when you look at those 3 factors, I think Achane, he's somebody that needs to be seriously considered whenever we're looking to acquire running backs, if that's the way that our team needs to go.
Yeah, he's definitely at least in a conversation of attainable compared to some of the other guys we're talking about. Man, he must be motivated after Tyreek Hill dogged him for saying he shouldn't get, touchdowns in the red zone. And
but he's only got 1 carry inside the 5, though. It's not like he's getting used there.
They're not giving it to him, and then Ollie Gordon looks kind of decent when he plays to be a future goal line back, but he just finds the end zone anyway. 9 touchdowns, JB. That's just lovely. Love that PPR. And I think too, like, they fired their GM, but they didn't fire their head coach, which was interesting. And again, they played hard for the head coach. They beat Buffalo, and then their schedule coming up: Commanders, bye week, Saints, Jets, Steelers, Bengals, Bucks. It's not terrible. Like, so this coach might salvage his job somehow.
Yeah, we've seen McDaniel whenever he is given the pieces from an offensive perspective. Like, I don't think that.
I think he's best for the pieces they have right now.
Right.
Tua, Achane, Waddle.
And everybody, including myself, just craps on Tua. But how bad does that offense look when he's not in there?
Right. So maybe they invest in O-line and this GM actually gets some talent on this team in the offseason, this new GM, whatever direction they go in. There's some hope here.
I'm cracking up. Hillbully's just peas and Dan's Cheerios. Ollie, negative 0.15 this past weekend.
Yeah, the point production isn't there behind that O-line.
He's looking good.
Just saying, he's flashed some nice runs here and there. The kid runs tough.
Yeah, all right. Devon Achane or 26 and 27 first. 12 team start, 10 full PPR.
Hey, isn't that similar to the Jonathan Taylor trade in some ways? Yes, he doesn't have the luster of Taylor, but those picks are going to be high, and you're giving me 2 firsts. But this is a start 10, so it's I'd lean Achane, but that's a good offer. If those picks are going to be high, I'll take the 2 firsts.
It's one of those years where you look at the running back market and the guys that are producing, and it's the top dynasty guys outside of Ashton Genty, really. But it's not one of those years where you're not really getting the high-end production from the high dynasty guys. And then, Dan, it's too early to be yawning, man.
Sorry. It's a long day, JP.
I know. Dan's saying he's got a long day today. He's waking up early. Dan is actually, he's the good guy here of the Dynasty Theory crew, doing some charity work tomorrow. So good on you, man. Good on you.
I appreciate that, buddy.
Of course, have to give you a positive shout out every once in a while. But going back to the running backs, it's not one of those situations where the high end dynasty guys aren't producing and you're getting production like last year from the Aaron Jones, the Joe Mixon, those older backs, James Conner, that people could rely on. So it's a little bit different this year. Devon Achane in a 26 third or Brian Thomas in a 27 second. 12 teams start 10 full PPR.
You have to smash Achane right now, man.
Yep.
How the mighty have fallen in BT there.
If there's any Xavier Worthy's, one of his family members must have made this trade here. Devon Achane for Xavier Worthy, Shador Sanders in a 26 second, 12 team start 10 full PPR. Can we just say smash Achane?
Oh, I'm running for the hills, man. And I'm rooting hard for Shador, but not a chance.
What about this one? Achane or Dylan Sampson, Quinshon Judkins in a 26 first, 12 team start 10 full PPR.
It's kind of the same mold of those 2 first trades, 26 and 27 first, but now you're getting the instant impact with 2 studs in 2026. Well, if the Browns could only stop being the Browns, Judkins could be really nice here. I really have liked the way Judkins has looked. I just don't believe in the Browns. Where are the Browns going to pick, JB? Just going to look at the standings right now. The Browns.
No, you're fine.
2 and 7. So you got Tennessee with a win, but they got Cam Ward, so they're not going to draft a quarterback, I wouldn't think. Raiders could with 2 wins. Jets could with 2 wins. Saints could with 2 wins.
I would take the package here because I'm seeing Quinshon as more than a first. You're getting the insurance with Dylan Sampson. You're getting the additional 26 first for extra flexibility and insulation. I love Achane, but we've seen Quinshon Judkins whenever, we just need that offense to be decent. They just need to be somewhat respectable.
They're not.
But these other ones I saw Hillbully saying, taking Brian Thomas in this trade that we talked about before. We got the 2 picks for Achane. Let's get one more here. Achane or Rice. 12 teams start 11 full PPR.
That's a fun one. And I do like Rice.
Now you like Rice.
I've let go of my grudge, but I will take Achane. It's like having a receiver at running back.
This is going to be the first cop out I give here. Roster construction is going to come into play. What does the rest of my running back room look like? I am hedging here. I am hedging. Wu Bear says Rice. Got another Rice.
Kansas City gets streaky though with that. No.
Well, I mean, they're streaky, and they split up those targets whenever there's somebody that's really not worth targeting. Rashee Rice he's a stud. He is an absolute stud.
He definitely is. I still like Achane. Value the position with the running back.
I get it. All right. Wrapping up the show. Has TreyVeyon Henderson, has he officially arrived, Dan? Ramondre Stevenson was out. Can we rely on Mike Vrabel and that coaching staff to stick with TreyVeyon Henderson as all fantasy managers are hoping for?
I'm going to say yes.
Your pause says it all. Yes. Your pause says it all.
I have a little reservation in whatever the heck Coach Vrabel's done this year, but I'm mad at myself. The pause is more me being mad at myself because I've liked this guy in the preseason. I liked his film. He's one of my guys. And then I kind of, he went through this stretch of just mediocrity and refusal to put him in. And that was the buy window, JB. That was the buy window. And I let it pass away. And here we are now. In the last 2 weeks, he's showing signs of life, especially last week, 14 for 147. He's still not getting volume, though. And we know Ramondre is going to come back. So I'm kind of still like, I'm buckling up here, JB, for a little bit of like a New England roller coaster in the second half of the year. But I do see him as that running back that, or that rookie that it takes to the second half of the season to really click it in and find his niche with the team and the coach to get confidence in him. And he should be their feature back. I mean, he's better than Ramondre. He's better than anything they have. But so I say yes, but prepare for some not blow up weeks. Because even without Ramondre, he only got 14 carries last week and only 1 reception.
So it's tough. It's tough to really, you got these guys that you believe in, right? And you want to buy low. We always talk about that. But it's tough to continue buying in low because you're not sure how much lower it's going to go. And you mentioned with Henderson, but think about like when Achane was a rookie. The shoulder was dinged up, but he was inactive early in his rookie season. And people were like, oh, dump him. Get whatever you can. And then he blew up. And we always want to make that educated guess and make that decision early on these guys, but maybe we are a little too hasty. Maybe we jumped the gun on these guys. And I think it happened with TreyVeyon Henderson from a picking up or dumping perspective. I picked up 1 share. I moved Javonte straight up for TreyVeyon Henderson in a league. I thought there was too much upside. So TreyVeyon Henderson, like you talked about the carries, his route participation in week 10, 72%. It was only behind Bijan Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, and Devon Achane. But you said only 1 target. So you have a quarterback in Drake May that he does want to push the ball down the field. He wants to, make big plays happen. Whereas you have somebody like a Tua, you have somebody like a Daniel Jones that they are actively targeting their running backs. Maybe that comes here in time with TreyVeyon Henderson. I think after the blow up game, now is not the time I would look to acquire. So this whole episode's been buy high, buy high, buy high. I don't think I could do it on TreyVeyon Henderson, assuming that whoever had him loved him. And now they saw that glimmer of hope. They saw that huge game. It's going to be far too challenging in my mind to get a move at a decent value to acquire him.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the biggest challenge you have right now. I like his schedule. He's got the Jets twice, although somehow they trade their best defensive players and played good defense last week. But then you got the Bengals, the Giants, they're big opportunity weeks. There is a bye in there, unfortunately, in week 14. Bills you can run against. We'll see about the Ravens, and then he finishes with the Jets. So good opportunity to get TreyVeyon if you could. And RJ Harvey, man, I said it in the 2-minute drill. We talked about him. Now I see Hillbilly saying sell Harvey, right, as New York Stromagazan. I like that name. I could see a window to sell him if someone wants to overpay because this opportunity.
Wait, how did you pronounce this username?
New York Stromgazon.
Okay, I was like, wait, what? Okay, I'll allow it.
I'm digging it. I'd be curious to know how he came up with that, but yeah, to me, New York Stromgazon, I'm buying him. But Hillbillies, if you could get more than he's worth, I do see a window where there's an opportunity to sell as well.
As it stands today, I think RJ Harvey, he's going to push a little bit more towards the sell side of things. Could that change very quickly? Yes, things change on a minute by minute basis within the Dynasty community at this point. Hillbillies, if you say one more bad thing in the chat about Daniel Jones, I'm going to have to boot you. I'm saying he's going to turn back. He's turning back into a pumpkin.
Oh, Indiana Jones will return, Hillbillies. You got to believe.
We'll see.
Keep JB with the hopium.
Just let me have it, please. Anyway, Quinshon Judkins or TreyVeyon Henderson in a 26-second, 12-team start, 10 full PPR.
Although I have Judkins ranked, he looks a little more attractive to Henderson because of all that volume. With the second, as long as it's not a late second, I'll go Hendo in the second.
I'm good with that. McCaffrey or Henderson in the first, 12 by 12, full PPR.
If I'm rebuilding or not contending, I'll take Hendo in the first. If I'm looking to win now, give me CMC. It's a lot of points.
But can't you see that being one of those situations where, like, yeah, I want McCaffrey if I'm contending, but then you make the move, and from this point on, their point per game difference isn't all that different. And I'm not saying Christian McCaffrey is going to lose a ton of work to Brian Robinson, but Brian Robinson hasn't looked that bad.
No, he's been able to spell him a little bit. It's kind of nice to see.
He's looked better than Ollie Gordon, I'll tell you that.
He's fair, fine. Keep razzing me on that one. Dang it. You wait. Next highlight of Ollie Gordon, man. I'm going to be posting it everywhere. But, yeah, I don't know. CMC, though, JB. That's too much points to pass up. You may regret it next year, but it's roll the dice.
I would take the Henderson side of that one. Henderson or first and third? Henderson.
Same. Third don't mean anything to me there.
A lot of pieces there. Henderson in 2:27 seconds or Roma Dunze, 12 by 10, full PPR.
If it start 3 receivers, I want Rome. If it start 2 receivers, I'll take Hendo in the package.
I will take Henderson either way. And then Henderson and Marks or Amari and Hampton, 12 by 11, full PPR.
I want Hampton. That's my dude.
Yeah, I like Hampton a lot there. Or I liked Hampton a lot in general, but like I like Woody Marks, have like 30% exposure. I would lean Hampton there.
Back in a couple weeks.
But really, like, out of all of these trades, I don't think. Now, here's the thing. Again, you're probably getting people that were like, oh, I'm trying to get out of Henderson, and now I have the opportunity, so I just need to make a move happen now while he had a hot game. You're probably just getting a ton of people that are holding. So I would explore the TreyVeyon market if you're getting him for a lot of these prices. You see it on the screen, 26 first to the third. What's going on there? No, we're not printing anything. The TreyVeyon in a first for McCaffrey, TreyVeyon in second. Like, I don't think that price tag, if somebody really is looking to sell, has caught up quite yet. So maybe a little more buy than I previously expected.
Opportunities out there. Let's get everybody trading now. Let's go.
It is out there. The chat, you guys were fantastic, like you always are.
Always.
Make sure you hit the like button for us. It's right down there. Just like the video, subscribe to the channel. Got a ton more content over at patreon.com/allgas. We got the My Cross Positional Dynasty tiers, which are updated pretty much on a daily basis. We have the Discord community. We have bonus conversations, bonus shows in the Discord. So there's a lot going on. Shane every week puts out Follow the Volume, a nice like article type post that just has a ton of great information and content from the previous week. So really a ton of good things. So come check it out. Hopefully you all enjoyed this week's episode of Dynasty Theory. Next week, I think Mitch will be back. He'll be gracing us with his presence, and unless he's going on another vacation, I just don't know. But for Dan Lamagna, I'm John Bauer. Catch everybody next week. Peace.